Gary Oldman won for Best Actor in a Kneeling role. I'm Justin.
Dorf goes fishing for Oscars and catches a Razzie. I'm Sam.
The story of the tall brother who has a short brother, and the short brother's always jealous of the tall brother. Tall brother gets the girl, tall brother knocks up the girl, but then on the way to the finish line, he stumbles and fumbles, and short brother picks it up and runs it in for the goal! I'm Jackie, and this is Tiptoes on Stinker Madness.
Hello and welcome to Stinker Madness. This is a podcast about bad movies for bad movie lovers by bad movie lovers. I'm your host, Justin, with me are always Sam and Jackie. This week on the show, currently streaming on Amazon Prime, from a movie from 2002 or possibly 2003 or possibly 2004, starring Gary Oldman, Matthew McConaughey, Kate Beckinsale, Patricia Arquette, and Peter Dinklage. How have you not heard of this movie? It should be Oscar City, right? It's called Tiptoes, and it was not. It was not Oscar. It was Oscar bait. And that's why we're doing this episode, is because tonight, tonight for us, as you well know, listener, is the Oscars. So we figured, hey, why not do an Oscar baity movie that nobody's ever heard of, nor should anybody ever hear of, except for we are making you hear about it. So failure on all parts by everybody. Damn.
Well, this is regarded as one of the worst movies of the 2000 post turn of the century. Like, when it came out and people didn't know the story behind it, they're like, this is hot trash. How could you make this trash?
Right.
But there's a reason. Things happened.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, I'm very interested, because I'm going to say right now that so Justin was like, hey, have you heard of this movie? And I was like, well, read me the synopsis. And so he was like, it's about this. And I'm like, yeah, that should be okay. And then watching it, I started to feel uncomfortable at first in the first part of the movie. And then I was like, okay, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I'm okay.
Okay. Interesting. What did I now I got to know.
What did you think it was going to be?
What was the uncomfortable?
I thought it was going to be like a hate movie.
I mean, it's not?
It deals with that, yes, but it's also so much more than that. I kind of felt like I got a little bit of an education about the Dorf community.
Okay.
Oh, that's not the way to put it.
Well, I think Dorf is a dated term, but it's not derogatory. Little person. Little person community, and like some of the health issues and stuff that they have, especially as like little babies. So I learned some stuff. Yeah.
It enlightened me.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's a positive that this movie, I guess, accomplished, because I do believe that that's one of the things it was trying to accomplish. But when you say, I'm worried about what it was about, I think we're going to have to come back to that, because I'm not real sure what this movie is about.
Well, at the Matthew Bright, let's start there. The guy that directed this is a veteran of the Forbidden Zone, or Forbidden Zone. I don't think there's a "the" on it. It's the Elfman's project that was the show that became a TV show that's music and variety and craziness. He was involved in that, and afterwards he had done some writing. He had written Wildfire with Stephen Bauer and Linda Fiorentino, which I didn't watch. Most of this is like shelf bait from when we were kids. We'd see it on the shelf, but that was when we saw it. Gun Crazy 92 with James LaGrosse and Drew Barrymore. Freeway with Reese Witherspoon and Kiefer Sutherland.
Got nothing.
That one actually has like a high 80s on. That one's supposed to be decent.
Okay.
Gun Crazy actually has a 63, but he only wrote those two, whereas he directed Freeway and Freeway 2, which did not do as well, critically speaking. Anyway, when he was 18, he wrote this, and I don't really have a good way to sugarcoat this. As a little person fuckathon. He was like, I'm going to make a racist comedy about little people, in quotes, screwing each other a lot.
Okay.
I guess. At the age of 51, I guess they're people too, and he realizes that finally or something.
Good.
I'm not sure exactly what goes on, but this is the movie that he made when he was, 50-ish. And it's supposed to be a heartfelt, this is like what's really happening. The original cut of this movie was 150 minutes, and it had screened in Austin at that length. But before it gets its wide premiere, or its official premiere, which that should have been the premiere maybe, but it wasn't. So in 2004, it premieres at Sundance, and it's 90 minutes long, which is an hour shorter than the other version. And I, watching this, could tell because they just like fade to black constantly and then wake up a year later or whatever. Like there's significant portions of the story missing when you're watching this. So I also don't know if Matthew Bright was privy to the fact that it was so abridged from his original version, because at the premiere, usually at Sundance, the filmmaker's allowed to sort of talk afterwards. And he ranted and raved and pissed and moaned about what they did to his movie until they dragged him off stage. I don't think he ever worked again.
Oh, no. Poor guy.
And it was apparently the Hanley brothers that ordered the cut down of the movie.
Hanley
allegedly.
Are we supposed to know who they are?
Chris and John Hanley were the producers that were like, nope, 90 minutes on this one. We don't care how bad it is, whatever.
Okay.
Allegedly, it's them. The support of that is that there's some people that liked the movie, including one Nicholas Winding Refn, who does like Valhalla Rising and Drive and the movies that you either love or hate or just kind of like, but everyone that hates him really fucking hates him. So his movies have gotten more hate than anything. He liked it. And so Chris Hanley found that out and gave him the 150-minute version. Like, oh, if you like that, here's this. Like, why are you still sitting on this if it's worth giving away? Or maybe he's saying like, oh, you shouldn't because watch this 150-minute. I don't know what that is, but the 150-minute version still hasn't been released, and Dinklage says that it's actually a very beautiful movie. It's a bit long, but it gets the point across. Or has one.
It has one. Yeah, that would be the first step. Yeah.
But this one does not. And you can tell that there's, even though, and it's 90 on the nose, like they were just 90 minutes, cut it.
Ding.
Ding.
Buzzer.
The biscuits.
Turkey popper pops out of the film tray.
Yeah, that's a bad sign. That was, but it's exactly
one
90.
more minute, and this film wouldn't have been juicy. It would have been dry. You got to have juicy, shorty movie, not dry like your mom's grody Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah,
turkey.
Kate Beckinsale ended up getting paid scale for the film.
Okay.
She had said she'd do it for scale if she got to wear her lucky hat, which is only in one scene. This is another.
What?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not real sure. Maybe she was like trying to save time in hair and makeup or something. I don't know.
Only.
I'll do it for cheap, but I'm not going to do my hair.
My lucky hat.
I'm not. Again, some of the stuff surrounding this is like hearsay. There was one longer write-up that I tried to read, but it wasn't very good. And it didn't cover anything that you couldn't find elsewhere trivia-wise. It was just longer versions of that same information kind of written haphazardly.
Wait a second. Is the lucky hat
the one that she's wearing
hat when she goes to tell him that the brother showed up?
Yep, that's the one.
That's a lucky
hat. Kate Beckinsale's.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm guessing there was another hat. She was wearing like a black hat at one point that was kind of a classy velvet hat. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on Kate Beckinsale's hat preferences. What I do know is that she's wearing a hat in like maybe 3 minutes of this movie that's 90 minutes long, and she got paid like she was wearing it the whole time.
I love it. I mean, we gotta do reference that she wasn't a big deal at this point. She'd barely been in Pearl Harbor at this point, so you know, that's her launch pad. It's before the Underworld movies, so
yeah,
she couldn't demand McConaughey money per se.
No, what had he done by this point?
Oh, he'd done a shitload of stuff. He was in all those 90s date movies, rom-coms. Don't forget Contact, obviously. Yeah, he was a failure to launch. The one with J-Lo.
Aren't those all right around this same time?
No,
that's one of the things I was looking up. Is
90s, late 90s, turn of the century. He Matthew McConaughey was a goddamn A-lister by the year of 2003, my friend.
Okay,
100%.
In 91, he was just all right.
Yeah. Not A-lister.
Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2003, he was in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Big movie.
Dazed and Confused, yeah.
Yeah. He's A-lister. I mean, pretty much after Contact, he was an A-lister. So, and Contact was like 98. So,
Oldman is an A-lister at this point.
Oldman is definitely an A-lister. Patty Arquette was an A-lister her whole life. She was shot out of the womb, and they gave her a statue on the Walk of Fame.
By mandate of the I feel like Patricia Arquette gets the persecution in society. Like, I feel like she has to constantly apologize for existing. Like, she constantly works. She's always in stuff. She bounces back from TV to movies, does decent stuff, does a good job, shows up, brings her lunchbox, whatever sort of working ethic you have as an actor. And then it's always like, you're related to David and you're not your sister. And she's like, I'm sorry for taking breaths of air.
Until 2017, when she got her fucking Oscar buddy. Now they can kiss her ass.
They can.
Yeah.
Nice round ass.
I think it's been mentioned on the podcast before that Sam is a fan of the visuals of Patricia Arquette.
Especially her butt. Anyway, Dinklage hadn't really done much before. The station agent, I think, is after this, which is his sort of... Really, his takeoff is Living in Oblivion, but that's his takeoff for, like, casting directors, because he does so good in that. Nobody saw that movie. It's a Tom DeSillo movie, so no one, the average moviegoer, had not seen Dinklage be awesome in that movie yet. So he hadn't, the station agent, I think, is the one that really starts skyrocketing him into getting him into Game of Thrones. And now at this point, he's, you know, Dinklage is probably your most expensive cast member if he's in the movie.
I bet you McConaughey still would cost more, but
now, because he's won an Oscar.
But
how many more times are they going to team them up, right?
Right. Yeah. Dinky doesn't, he demands a high price tag, I'm sure.
Yes. Beckinsale's the high price tag too. You're not going to get these three in a movie again.
4.
But
4.
Is
5.
David Allen Greer, is he a big price tag?
No. No. Hey, I'll show up. It's me, David Allen Greer. Hey, look at me. And now I'm out of the movie. Bye-bye. That's how David Allen Greer is in pretty much everything he does.
Or he's just spotted at craft services. Is David Allen Greer in this movie?
What's he doing over there?
Then he's raiding the craft services again.
Oh, but it's David Allen Greer. Let him.
Hey, I'm going to get a picture.
Yeah, right.
Because you would totally get a picture with him. I would get a picture.
Sure.
He's funny. That's pretty much it on the... I mean, I guess I could mention that, well, what did they do to make Gary Oldman small? They just did the dwarf thing.
They did the dwarf thing with CGI.
They did the dwarf thing, CGI, and a body double, but...
And it's terrible. I mean...
It's pretty terrible.
It looks
the
like...
movie...
I had to pause it in a couple spots. It looks like maybe we've turned the page on this because the technology is moving forward so fast, but it looks like AI's hands. Like, AI can't do hands, right? We all know that. The image generator, it adds weird arms that don't belong. That's what they did to his pants. Whoever did the CGI to hide his legs, like, blended the pants with his shoes. Like, there's no stoppage of either. That's just all shoe pant.
Yeah, there was a scene at the party, the rich party, where he's standing outside and it's a profile medium wide where you see his whole body, and the shoes looked like they were just some photoshopped on the front, and then somebody just did keyframes to keep them where they were supposed to be.
Like the blur line.
Just on the front of the fake shoes. The rest of the fake shoes didn't really match, and I was like, oh, that's not very good at all.
At one point, they didn't use CGI. They stuffed his ass in a goddamn couch and then flopped some fake legs on top of the couch.
Yeah.
They look like the CPR patient's leg, like the test dummy for the CPR. They look like those legs. They're embarrassingly bad.
The level of comfort that he displayed on his face made me think that they just said, fold your legs underneath the cushion. We can't afford to cut a hole in the couch.
Right. Stuff Gary Oldman in the sofa.
Chewing up aspirin and taking laps in between takes so that his knees don't hurt.
And can you imagine his knees? I mean, I'm not saying much about Gary Oldman. I'm one of the biggest fans of Gary Oldman. In fact, I know that I am being currently played by Gary Oldman right now as I'm speaking. He's a master of disguise. You don't know who the fuck he is. He's everywhere. Him and Tom Hardy should do opposite biopics of each other. And then, was that Tom Hardy or was that Gary Oldman? Because they're that good. But his performance in this movie wasn't super great. But his knees, goddamn, those are some fucking amazing knees. And I can't believe he can get upstairs at this age.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Are we not going to talk about Michael J. Anderson?
We have to. Go right at it.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite little people actors.
Oh.
It's okay to say little people, right?
It's not.
Yes.
It's preferred.
Okay. He's one of my favorite little people actors because he was in Monsters, Twin Peaks. He was in Star Trek.
Okay.
Deep Space Nine as Rumpelstiltskin.
He is the Black. Oh God, the Black Lodge.
Yeah.
Yes. Finally, thank you. I was like, God, where do I know that guy from? He's the freaking guy in the Black Lodge talking backwards. Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah, and Debbie Lee Carrington is in Total Recall.
Yes, and Seinfeld.
Yep. And Carnival. He was in Carnival for a couple of years, which is a show I watched on HBO. Yeah, so I just he's been in a lot of stuff.
We're going to talk about...
So every time I see him, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know that guy.
We're going to talk about Tony Cox.
Tony Cox.
He's not in this movie. We're going to talk
I'm
about...
like, who the hell is that?
We're going to talk about Danny Woodburn. He's not in this movie. We're going to talk about Warwick Davis. He's not in this movie. That's my problem, is Dinklage has always been a good actor. Always. And he easily could have played the role of Rolf instead of Gary Oldman. And then
I think anybody you just named could have, too.
And then who are we going to get?
I would have taken Warwick
Tony
Davis.
Cox to play a Frenchman. Tony Cox can play anything. Why? I know that this is before like the whitewashing stuff that Hollywood's been getting forever, but why hire Gary Oldman? Why?
This isn't before that, because one of the very first shots fired by everyone that saw this is, why the fuck do you have Gary Oldman doing this?
Why?
If you're really doing a movie about little people, there's like 30 of them that could have played this part and fucking nailed it.
God damn it. It sucks so bad. It pisses me off. Tony Cox is a fucking great actor. Danny Woodburn is a great fucking actor. I mean, yeah, maybe not lead guy, but Peter Dinklage as Rolf probably would have been a stronger performance. It would, like, the CGI wouldn't have taken away from anything because there wouldn't have been any goddamn CGI. You could have done better shots, better framing, more emotion pulled in every scene, and you wouldn't have some sort of like, why the fuck is Gary Oldman in this movie at all? Stupids. I'm done. Ran over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what everybody said when it came out. So
well, they
you're right with them.
Should hear that.
They should have said that. Yeah.
Because it's stupid.
And regardless of how good the 150-minute cut is, it's going to bear that scar no matter what.
Yeah. And probably has like double the amounts of terrible CGI fake legs. Fuck off.
Yeah. And that he can only do so good when he's on his knees. And he's really just like, everybody just does okay. Like nobody screws it up.
Right.
It's
just Kate get back
the
and say
rest
it
of
wasn't
them.
good. None of them are good. McConaughey's McConaughey. They're all just doing their thing, but nobody really screws it up.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, like you see the poster for this and the rom-com was so huge that they tried to bill this as a rom-com. And you can edit to your heart's desire until you're blue in the face, but if there wasn't any jokes in the original footage, you can't actually turn it into a romantic comedy.
It's in the genre's title right there. Comedy.
I mean, there was the Shakespearean fart
It could be a Shakespearean comedy, which is a tragedy, right? You know, everybody dies.
Well, no, I mean when the guy that plays Kate Beckinsale's dad was like, he starts his little fart limerick, but then it continues on into like a one-man Shakespearean play on farts, and I actually laughed at that because I was like, whoa, somebody needed to pull the plug on this. This is not funny. I'm laughing at how not funny this is.
A little bit of levity there, Sam. You didn't like it? Okay. All right, we ready to get into this?
Yes.
Okay. Basically what we've got here is we've got Rolf, played by Gary Oldman, as mentioned. What would you guesstimate Rolf's character's age is supposed to be?
I think
twins.
they're supposed to be.
Okay, what would you guesstimate Rolf's character's age supposed to be?
31.
I don't know.
31?
45.
You guys have some different differing opinions.
See, I was taking into account that you just said they're twins. And the mechanic is in his first marriage and having a child, so I'm going to shoot lower than 45.
Okay. I will grant her, though, he does dress like he might be 45. He's got the haircut of a 45-year-old. I mean, Rolf's not a cool guy, right?
No.
No.
His brother's a cool guy. Rolf's not a cool guy. And it's not because of his height. It's just, that's Rolf. He's just kind of
He's a writer.
A writer or a writer?
A writer.
Okay, all right.
When he's up in the cabin, he says that he's written for like the New York Post, and that's what he does. He's a freelance writer. So yeah, he's going to be a little crusty.
Okay, all right.
He probably doesn't have to leave very often, you know?
Well, as
His
mentioned,
home.
he's got a twin brother, played by Matthew McConaughey, Steven. Steven is working on his first marriage, probably not his last, with Kate Beckinsale. Her name is Carol. Rolf's got a buddy. His name is Maurice. He is actually a Frenchman, also a little person. And they are on their way to a little person defense league convention, which I'm assuming is a real thing. We don't need to like dive into it, but I'm assuming that the little people community have some sort of gathering of people who try to fight for little person rights and what's that, ACA compliance type stuff.
I don't know.
Jackie,
I mean, if they have a
works in
gathering of
Title
the
11.
Juggalos, they can have.
No,
at
but
that point,
that's what
who's
a
not
defense
gathering,
league.
right?
A defense league
Sure.
is there to fight for their rights to party.
Are you talking about ADA
88,
compliance?
thank you. Yeah, Title IX,
That's
that sort of stuff.
not a convention so much as a national federal law.
Yeah, but no, when you fight for those rights all year long, you're like, hey, you can't put in that sidewalk. It's slippery or whatever. Then at the end of the year, all those people are like, yeah. Also, that guy on TV called us the M word. Down with him. They get it together at the end of the year and they have drinks and, some, would you like the fish or the chicken?
How are we going to do any business with these regulations? If I have to make these sidewalks not slippery, it's going to cost me a fortune.
Think of the good in the community that the little person could do with not slippery sidewalks. Also, tall people don't slippery sidewalks. Maybe Justin shouldn't be in the little person defense league. I don't think he's qualified.
Probably not. Everyone of all sizes can slip on the slippery sidewalk. And developers everywhere are still really mad they can't make them slippery because of how much money you could save.
Right.
Just think, we could just get broken glass and make them out of that. That's cheap, right?
Now we're talking. As I twirl my mustache at the end. I like your thinking there, Sam. It's a ticket to fast money. Run away, buddy. Glass sidewalks.
Meanwhile, Stephen, the McConaughey character, is late.
Yes.
And she's like, well, let me give you a blowjob. And he's like, no, I'm already late. And I'm like, I don't like you. What, you're going to be 90 seconds later? You're already late. You stupid. If she's that bad at it, you're 12 minutes later.
Oh, man.
That's like terrible at it.
The boys, Maurice and Rolf, they're cruising along with PCH, I'm assuming. They've got trikes.
They look like they're coming back from Baker in Vegas.
Yeah, maybe Baker. No, I thought I saw the ocean on one of the shots. So
okay, whatever.
Maybe, I don't know. Either way, they're right along on some highway in California. They've got
open
trikes.
road.
Yeah. Feel the wind in your hair. And they stop as they see Lucy, played by Patricia Arquette, get off a hippie tour bus, or she's probably kicked off of this bus, knowing her later thing. And they're like, hey, hot babe, I'm going to pick her up. So now Lucy is a part of the little person community as well.
So that tour bus isn't very nice.
Okay. Lucy was on it.
It's like Dawkins' 2003 tour bus. They're in between state fairs.
Yeah, right.
8 Dawkins fans out there super pissed at me right now that also saw them play the state fair in 2003.
Lucy got kicked off because she was like, Dawkins sucks. Get out of here. You suck. That's what Lucy
She's like,
does.
play Freebird. And then they did.
Yeah, right. Okay. So Ralph and Maurice, they show up with Lucy at this little person defense league convention. And Maurice and Lucy, they immediately get kicked out. Like, Rolf and Steven are having a conversation outside about, hey, how's it going? Where's Carol? I don't know about Carol yet because of something we'll find out in a few minutes in this movie. Hey, how's Sally? Sally and I, we're seeing each other here and there, says Ralph. Okay, cool. Hey, your friend just got kicked out. Like, that was 30 seconds that they were inside before they were immediately ejected out of the Little Person Defense League convention. Get him out of here. I mean, you gotta really do something in there. They say that they were accused of stealing food, which you can't do at a convention. The convention has food that you are to partake in.
Yeah, it's like if you can make it in, you're fine.
Right. You can't get kicked out. She probably showed her tits. I'm assuming she just...
Or she just, like, started putting ribs in her purse.
Got to be a little quicker on, a little more sneaky on the rib theft. Okay, so, where are we at? Okay, so Carol... Later, she tells Steven that she might be pregnant. He's like, oh my God, I'm not ready for that because I've got a secret. He's like, I'm also not real keen on that.
I like that he's like, but we've been using protection. And she's like, except for the 3 or 4 times a week, we don't. Which at that point, like, really? 3 or 4? Who are you fooling by even buying the things anymore?
Right. No kidding. Look, you're screwing a lot apparently, because you're getting the condom on most of the time, and if most of the time is not 2 or 3 times a week, that implies that you're going like 12 or 15.
Yeah. and you're still maintaining an unprotected sex clip that guarantees pregnancy.
2 or 3 times a week is definitely enough to...
She said 3 or 4.
3 or 4 is quite enough to get pregnant. Just give it up on the condoms. You're getting knocked up. Might as well have a good time. Jackie has nothing to say about any of this. No, I don't.
Nope.
Okay. All right, so our boys, they go to a motel, and there's only one room. They're hassled because they're little people, and she looks like a whore. I'm just saying. And so the manager's a dick, and they're like, okay. Ralph's like, I'm going to go take a shower. Try not to, well, actually screw while I'm taking a shower so I don't have to hear that later. They don't. They dink around, and then they go to screw immediately when he comes out, and he's stuck listening to them all night. Sort of.
It was one of many sequences where they just toss him in a bathrobe, assuming that that'll hide his torso length.
Yeah, right?
Like there's 5 or 6 scenes they're just like, he's bathrobe guy again. And you're like, why do you wear a bathrobe so much, Rolf?
But Maurice has back pain. He has to stop from the screwing because he's got sporadic back pain that I guess also gives him a fever because of the ulcers that they get.
And he's got a hemorrhage, a hemorrhage in his stomach too.
Okay, that's
which is why he keeps grabbing his stomach.
Yeah, that's
no. I thought the hemorrhage was where it comes. The stomach comes out between the muscles.
That's a hernia.
Hernia.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hemorrhage is when you're hemorrhaging.
He's got a herniated disc in his back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
From jumping the tricycle.
Right? Probably. And so Rolf's like, all right, let me get you a doctor because you seem in real pain. And Maurice later declares that he's a Marxist, but one of the stipulations of being a Marxist is also he can't deal with doctors. He'd rather just be in insufferable pain. So Lucy's like, I can live with that.
Well, they're drinking morphine cough syrup and cognac.
Yummy.
And your point is?
She doesn't know.
Okay. Because that sounds wonderful to me. That's what I have in my coffee every morning. A shot of morphine, baby. Get you through the day. Deal with the crap of this universe. Piles on top of you.
About this much morphine, cough syrup, about this much cognac, top it off with a little coffee.
Yeah, immediately right
so
in the
bad.
sink. Okay. All right, so Rolf's like, oh, dude, screw this. You guys are dicks. Gonna screw all night, sort of. Or yell in pain while screwing. I'm leaving. So he goes to Sally, who we talked about earlier. She's his girlfriend, I guess, or ex-girlfriend, because she is not great as a person.
They were high school sweethearts,
Okay.
And then they never got married because she's a whore.
She is
and she
really
screws everybody. And Rolf knows about it,
Mm-hmm.
and so they break up. And then he thinks, okay, she's changed her ways, she's matured. Comes back, and she's got like 5 dudes shoved in the closet. And he's like, "What are these 5 dudes doing in here?" It's not what it looks like. Well, what it looks like to me is one of them's got a butt plug in.
That's for.
And then he leaves.
And Sally is played by adult performer Bridget Powers.
Yes. Oh, like you mean she's an adult film star?
I think she mostly does not that, but like exotic dancing and things like that.
Okay.
I think there's a little of both, but it's mostly like the Playboy end of things. I'm not sure though. I didn't dig into it too hard.
That's fine. Okay.
Oh, here's a fun fact for you guys. Bridget, her nickname is Bridget the Midget.
Sure, of course.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to avoid. I did get to that part.
Not helping Bridget.
No, but that's her nickname.
Okay.
And on January 5th of 2024, porn star Bridget Powers, also known as Bridget the Midget, was arrested in Las Vegas after stabbing her boyfriend Jesse James in the leg.
Great.
Isn't Jesse James the guy who was married to Sandra Bullock?
Yep.
Can't be the same guy. I'm sure there's more than one Jesse James, as evidenced by the other Jesse James.
Well, he got shot a long time ago.
Yeah, but, you can't trust Bridget didn't have something to do with it. She seems like a slippery rascal. Shot by the coward, what's his name?
John Ford?
John Ford. Yeah. Great director.
No, I don't know. I didn't watch that, and I don't remember. Pat? No, he shot Billy the Kid was Pat Garrett.
Yeah.
You know what?
No,
I just
Pat
don't
Garrett
care
shot
about
Liberty
Jesse.
Valance.
No, he did not. Pat Garrett shot Billy the Kid.
Well, who's the man who shot Liberty Valance?
You never find out.
Okay.
Or you actually stay awake during the whole movie. Hey, yo! Who shot Liberty Valance?
Who shot the sheriff?
I don't remember who shot him.
I shot the sheriff!
But he didn't kill the deputy.
Okay. Thank you.
Either way, I don't care about Jesse James.
No, I'm good.
The actual
Bill
Jesse
Cower?
James.
I don't know. All right.
Bill Cower.
So he goes over to Sally, and she's like, here's the deal. I've got a roommate. He's a refugee from the Gaza Strip. Topical. I guess there's always refugees needed out of the Gaza Strip. And he didn't have money to help me pay rent, so he fucked me several times. And that's how he's paying his share in rent, is by dicking. So Ralph is like, okay. So he hides in the closet because this guy comes back, and he's like, I need money. You don't have any money. You pay rent with your penis. So there's no money that you... Obviously, you don't have any money. Well, I need money. Okay, here's some cash. He's like, wait a minute. I smell man in here. So he goes in the bedroom, and sure enough, there's Ralph. He's like, hey, there's a guy in here. You said you loved me. And then he starts beating on Ralph pretty good. And the only way to get this guy off Ralph is to hit him with a boombox.
So I've got a question about this whole scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
How much dicking is appropriate for rent?
Well,
a lot.
And it's got to be real good. Because let's face it, usually it's not very good.
I think you have to look to Kingpin as the template for that.
Yeah. If you're, there you go. Woody Harrelson nailing that grody lady. Probably is fair rent, but if I was to pay rent and penis, I think I just end up owing
once
more.
A day?
No, that's what I'm saying. It depends on who's paying the rent. Because if it was me, after just one, it's time to do the rent collection, I just end up getting charged more money.
Eviction.
I don't need more dick. I need actually now more money because that was bad. That was terrible. You sure you're okay down there? Because it was. Look, the 2016 Detroit Lions were bad, but you're terrible. They didn't even win a game.
Malibu Express, you're like, I need water. And she's like, you haven't even made it to the bed yet.
Right?
So thirsty. Out of gas.
I sweated it all out. Sweated on the way over here. Whoa. Yeah, sorry I puked on your dress. But, okay. So anyways, Carol is pregnant. And Ralph stops by because he got kicked out of Sally's place or got beat up. And he's like, hey, I'm just looking for Steven. And Carol's like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Who are you? I'm his brother. Who are you? I'm having his baby. Oh. What do we do now?
Take a nap on the couch.
Yeah. I'm just going to plop a nap. So the whole thing is that Steven was hiding this from her due to embarrassment or not having a reason to tell her, didn't trust her because, hey, you know, I'm probably not going to keep you around for very long. All right, because I'm Matthew McConaughey. Look at me. Whatever his reason, he hid the fact that his twin brother is a little person from Carol, and she's now just finding this out. And she is now concerned about the health of her baby because it's a DNA thing. It's hereditary.
I'm also going to burn a series of questions now based upon the apartment they live in. That's her apartment, right?
I would assume so. She's got a giant ass room to do canvas work in, like giant canvas painting. So, yeah, it's probably her place.
And it's also just a commercial warehouse that they've converted into an apartment.
Yep. That's what I'd call it.
Because it's got a roll-up door.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. L.A.
L.A., right. Okay. I thought you had more questions like, what are they doing in there? Or whatever. But yeah, no, it's
4 times a year that it's cold, you just get an electric blanket.
Yeah. No, it's a cool place. Okay, so let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. So they pal out for just a little bit. She patches him up. He invites him to stick around and hang out, but he falls asleep. The hotel manager the next morning, he's like, you got to get the hell out of here because checkout was at noon. It's now 4:00. And so fucking Maurice pulls a goddamn gun. Where'd you get that gun, Maurice? And also, what happened to the gun? Like, it never comes back into the film. It's like Tommy Wiseau level of gun. Billy, where'd you get a gun? What kind of gun?
He's conflicted in his Marxism. I don't know if he is or not. But he's also just a biker.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the cross tattoo, the gun, the bike, so therefore biker.
Yeah, okay. Well, he doesn't need it because Lucy beats the shit out of this guy with a shoe.
Like, really gives it to him.
He probably has to go to the hospital.
Well, considering it had a little bit of a heel on it, and she was hitting him with that part, she might have poked him in the eye.
Yeah, he might not be okay. I want to get that
stitches on the least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Carol, she goes to Steven at his firefighter school because that's what he does, I guess, is he's a trainer for wildfire fighters.
He's like a hotshot that's burned out and can't do it anymore, so he's staying on for training because he didn't go to college and can't get a desk job.
Yeah. So, not a catch.
Strike 2, Steven. Yeah.
She's like, hey, you son of a bitch, you didn't tell me about your brother. Well, I also didn't tell you about my mom and dad. They're also little people. And she's like, my God, this guy's full of secrets for no reason. And she's like, well, we're pregnant. And he's like, I know, probably not great.
Well, I mean, doesn't it seem a little odd that she would not have, like, at least asked about meeting the parents before this point? I mean...
No.
Yeah. No, I'm with Jackie. They've decided that they're getting married and they don't know each other's family. Like, and they've lived together for how long? A year?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't even bothered with any of it.
I think that this isn't as uncommon as you people seem to think about it.
Like, oh, really? How long was it before you met my family?
That's irrelevant. That's immaterial. I don't live in L.A. I bet you in L.A. and New York, like, you move away, you're there to the big city to make it big. You don't talk about the folks back in Kansas. Oh, I haven't seen them in years type thing. I bet you it happens a lot more than you think.
His parents seem to live like 4 blocks away.
I know, but I'm saying, in general, I bet you this happens a lot more than you think. People plan to get married without meeting each other's parents. A lot more than you would think. You traditionalist fuckers.
Yeah.
No, I think that this is weird as a female that, I mean, after like 6 months, things are getting serious. We moved in together, you know, give it another couple of months. If I haven't, you know, at least had a virtual conversation with your parents or said hi on the phone, I'm going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Is your family a bunch of gargoyles? Mm-hmm. Like, that would be my main concern.
Look, I'm not saying it's not a red flag.
What is a virtual conversation with the parents? Like, you simulate it with stuffed animals?
No, you put on your VR headset and
You have fake parents.
You go into the meta universe.
Virtual
meta
versions
universe.
of the stuffed animals. Mr. Tittles is playing my dad.
yeah,
Don't
they
mention
pick their avatar.
Vietnam.
Yeah, you get on your VR goggles and you get to pick your avatar, and then you go in and you have a nice little tea party, or you can select different locations, but it's just a way to get to know them.
And then your future father-in-law virtually assaults you because that's all that happens in the metaverse is people go on there and start pretend rubbing each other's privates. I'm not actually rubbing your private. You haven't heard about that, Sam? It's
what?
I'm not kidding. You go it's all over the news. Zuckerberg is failing horribly on the metaverse because you go into the metaverse and that's all that happens. You're like a bunch of little Nintendo Wii avatars are standing around rubbing each other's privates without permission. I'm not kidding.
In Thunderdome?
I'm not making this up. And so there's all these I've been virtually sexually assaulted reports all over the metaverse. And they can't keep up with banning people because more people just create new accounts and go on to chat rooms to rub people's virtual private parts.
Wow.
It's so stupid. We live in the dumbest of times with the dumbest of people. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You like that? Like what?
Yeah. I think there's something to be said for that troll's commitment, though. I've created 13 accounts, just bomb back in, rub the privates until I'm banned, do it again. Uh-huh. One day if the FBI shows up, I can just go, what? What?
What? Really?
What? What are you gonna? I mean, what did I really do?
I mean, it's not right, but
it's not right.
It's just stupid.
But so's the rest of it.
It's so stupid. Dumbest of times is the dumbest of people. Okay, I'm just saying, Jackie, I agree with you. It's probably not a good thing to not know your future spouse's parents. My simple point is I bet you it happens more than you think it does.
All right, well, ladies, if he doesn't introduce you to the parents before that proposal, nope, don't do it.
It's a red flag.
Gargoyles.
Yeah.
5 dudes in the closet kind of business. You don't want this.
Mm-hmm. And then, there's a chance that they didn't actually officially get engaged, that it's just been talked about, somewhat agreed upon, and now it's basically a shotgun marriage because of that surprise pregnancy from the 3 or 4 times a week of unprotected sex.
Yeah, God, who could have seen that coming? I mean, you should have, because I was never mind. Okay, Maurice and Lucy, they stopped by the park to go ahead and make out in front of children.
Yeah, that was so funny. Just throw down a blanket and these kids are playing in the background.
And they're looking at them.
Let's get drunk.
These kids are standing around staring at them being like, I mean, maybe the movie's trying to be like, look at these little assholes. This guy can't live a normal life without children looking at his stature. No, they're looking at adults making out in the park. That's what they're looking at. Movie. It's a bad setting for this. And bad people to do it.
There's probably a number of there's probably dialogue either side of that originally that might make sense at some point, but who's to say?
It is just a cut scene where 2 adults go to a park to lay on top of each other in front of children while they watch.
Like the editor left it in so we didn't forget who they were.
Right. Yeah. Don't forget about these 2. And these kids over here who are now either traumatized or confused. Okay, so Carol and Ralph, they're hanging out back at their place because Steven, I guess, is it's not just firefighter training camp over there. I guess it's like a firefighting training camp for the week. So he's not staying there. But Carol and Ralph, they converse about the pregnancy and the possibility that it's a little person and, the challenges that could come with that, the physical challenges, the ailments, the pains from growing, in a body that is too small for your guts. And he's like, if you're struggling with this, you should probably see a doctor. I've got plenty that I can recommend, including my uncle. Let's go see him.
Yep.
So they go to his uncle, who's got a family of little people that we saw at the beginning of the movie. And they act as a support network, and they reassure. And she at first was kind of a shitty person about little people. She was using the M word, which I just want to let everybody know that's like, well, why can't we say the M word? Is because it is a derogatory. It's not just derogatory. It was a word created by traveling circuses to describe little people who were part of their freak show. It is the exact same thing as calling a little person a freak. You are a freak of nature. That is why we don't use the M words, because it's synonymous with you are a freak of nature. You're a mutant. You're a grotesque. Don't use it. It is bad and awful. Okay. All right. Soapbox over. So he's, she was like that. She was.
Did you just look that up because?
No, I've known that for years.
Heard this in the movie, like the movie educated you, and you're like, I wonder what the deal is with midget.
No, and God damn it, I'm seriously telling you, it is the exact same thing as using the N word. Stop doing it. It's not cute. It's not funny. It is extremely hurtful to little people. You are calling them freaks of nature when you say it.
So you did know about this before this movie?
Yeah, I pay attention to things because I'm not an insensitive asshole, and I think it's okay to pay attention to people who don't look like you and understand why we can't use the words that we used to use.
Thank you.
Sometimes you're not an insensitive asshole.
I'm funnier when I'm insensitive asshole, though.
Yeah.
I am pretty preachy the rest of the time, but I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it. I can't talk like that. I can't say Oriental. Fuck off. Goddamn right you
can say Oriental as long as you're describing a rug.
It's still racist. No, I'm just kidding. that rug has feelings, Sam. You should be sensitive to rugs. Where the fuck are we? So they're like, hey, you're cool. You're part of the family now, and she's being cool too. So she calls Steven. And she's like, yeah, I met some of your family. They are really nice and cool to me. And he's like, how dare you be my family? I'm supposed to be tall and perfect. And I don't know if I'm embarrassed of them because the movie is doing a terrible job of translating my emotional feelings, or if I'm just worried about the health of my future child.
It is weird because at the beginning, he goes to this convention and he seems to not have a problem or an issue.
Very supportive.
Yeah, like he's part of the community. And then as soon as she gets pregnant, he's like, oh no. I'm going to have a freak kid. And I'm like, what? Like that is the kind of the betrayal that he has when she tells him, right? It's like, it's going to be, he's almost acting like, I don't know. This kid is just going to be a nightmare. Mm-hmm. And it just really he just hates the thought that he could be a little person's dad.
He hates it so much that when he says goodbye, he hangs up on her and throws his cell phone as far as he can.
And then somebody comes up and she's like, that was stupid.
That was stupid.
Like, you want to go to a party? And that doesn't pan out at all. I'm wondering if if some of that, because I'm assuming that there's large amounts of McConaughey's character, having deep-seated issues that are just on the cutting room floor at this point.
Right. We cannot tell at all what he's thinking. Like he just chucks his phone and says, you want to go to a party? Because there's another, I guess, little person Defense League party thing, because everybody from the Defense League party at the beginning of the movie is at this new party, but it's at a schwank pad, and he brings his coworker, or not his coworker, I guess it's his student, and there's a little implication of maybe they were having an affair. Is that where this is going? He's cheating on her now, but then he walks straight up to Kate Beckinsale and is like, hey, this is my student, this is my wife, she's pregnant and I love her.
Well,
why
he
did he
brings
bring
like two
two?
or three. Yeah, he brings like 2 or 3 students with him. And for somebody who has such an issue, like with his own child possibly being a little person, he certainly is open to bringing, and he wouldn't bring Kate Beckinsale into the fold, but then he'll bring 3 randos from his firefighting class. Like, what the fuck is happening?
I don't know. I mean,
He's just a douche.
He's just a total douche, but like a unclear douche. His motivations are so douchey that it can't even be comprehended by man. I don't understand. Like, this tall blonde comes out of nowhere, and she said something at the beginning of the movie where he was being a douche to another guy at the firefighting camp, and he's like, hey, you're being a douche. And he's like, you're right, because maybe I'm having an affair with you, said every other movie that's ever been written and has this character in it, but not this one. Hey, that's my wife. Now you are not in this movie ever again. Goodbye.
But that's the most defensible position I think he has in this, is when he's being hard on them in training, and she's like, that's a dick move. And he's like, well, maybe they won't die in fire now. Shut your fucking mouth and start shoveling again, stupid, or die in fire when we go out there. Working them too hard? Well, the fire will burn them alive. So I guess it's you choose your adventure. Digging fast or dying.
If only Steve Spielberg, or if only Richard Dreyfuss had been a little bit harder on John Goodman, his plane wouldn't have exploded.
Yeah. I think that's different, but
No, it's not. They're fighting fires. Hey, pull up or die in fire.
okay, well, maybe it's not that different.
You're being a dick, Richard Dreyfuss. What was her name? She's great.
God,
Holly Hunter. Holly Hunter. God,
Holly Hunter.
what
Yeah.
the fuck? Where? Come on, America. Why don't we have more Holly Hunter? Now where the hell are? Oh, Maurice. He gets all drunk. Doctors are sons of bitches. Don't point your finger at my husband. He can point his finger wherever he wants. He's a full-grown man. You're trying to bring him down because he's a little person. I'm a little person, so I can't bring him down. You guys are just trying to start a fight. So he starts throwing meatballs all over the place, and Rolf pulls him aside and has been like, psh, 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 get a hold of yourself, man. You're being an asshole. Yeah, you're right.
You're talking politics at a party, douchebag.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yep. And we should also mention that at this party, Rolf and Sally have actually gotten back together. They come to the party together with Kate Beckinsale, or Carol, and they seem to be on the mend of maybe rekindling their romance.
Yeah, maybe, because he's like, good thing that I brought Sally, because my buddy Maurice here is being a real drunk asshole, so I'm going to go hang out with Sally. Sally, where are you at? Maybe she's in this dark sunroom that has a bunch of windows that everybody can see into. Where's the light switch? Oh, my God. She's fucking David Alan Grier.
He's fucking her.
On the table... There was where's the lights on? It was like, there's a sunroom with a table that has windows on at least 2 sides, but maybe 3. And they're just porking on it in high light. Like this is a
Not
crazy
to mention that there's
party.
somebody sitting there watching them having the sex. And it looks like she's got like a rolled up dollar bill or something. Like she's doing drugs and just watching them having sex.
Yeah.
She's actually not watching him having sex. She's like, fuck softer for a second. I'm trying to do cocaine. You guys are agitating this table.
You know, maybe
it's hard to do coke off of it.
Maybe I should see if there's a little person defense league in my neighborhood. There's a undiscovered pool of good times that I could be having.
I don't know.
David Alan Grier.
Yeah, with David Alan Grier.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys see the size of Peter Dinklage's package in Game of Thrones?
Nope.
No?
That man has got a pretty big dick.
It wasn't in it.
Yes, it was. He was in the whorehouse in the first season.
I think you're...
When we first get introduced to him, he's sitting in a whorehouse.
I think you're putting...
spread eagle, with his wiener hanging out.
I don't think that's... I think you saw a different show with a different person on a different network, because that is not what happens.
Okay, well, I'm going to find the picture of Peter Dinklage's dick.
Literally talking about one of the most popular television shows of all time that every single person on this podcast and listening to has seen. I think you should probably, if you're going to tell stories about somebody's penis being in a film that wasn't in a film, you should probably pick something a little bit more obscure, but that's your thing. We're moving on.
Especially if it's in the first season, because I hadn't checked out yet. That took till like season 3. Yeah. Then I was completely checked out.
He did not put his junk in the Game of Thrones. All right, so he sees her banging. He's like, and Rolf, he's yelling at Steven for being a dick. He's like, you're being a dick to your wife. Yeah, my lady's banging a guy. Screw this party. Let's all go home. So they go home, and these are just obscure notes that have nothing to do with plot, but I put these in order because they have a conversation, and Carol explains after saying, why did you hide your family from me? And he doesn't have a good reason. She says, well, I would like to see a little person circle jerk. She does. She says,
what?
He says that, like, she asks him if he ever banged a little person. He's like, no. This was like little kid stuff. Like, doctor, you show me yours and you show me yours. And she's like, well, I'd like to see you sit around with a bunch of those people having a circle jerk. How did you guys...
says that?
She said that. How do you guys did not get that? And then he's like,
oh
yeah? Well, I need to know if you're only being pregnant for political reasons. Like, are you keeping the baby to be politically correct? Or like to make a statement about something? Jackie, stop looking for Peter Dinklage's penis and get involved in the goddamn podcast. It didn't happen.
Okay, fine. Yes, it did. He talked about getting naked on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because his butt is just as naked.
God damn it.
Butt.
Okay.
She's out there just searching for the dinkle dong.
I am searching for the dingle dong. Sorry. I'll stop. But the best part about me searching for dinkle dong right now is that it's on Justin's Google. So it just looks like
good.
He's a pervert.
Wouldn't be the first time. Surprised it didn't come up in auto search. I'm a curious person. I have a natural proclivity to look for things. So she tells him that he needs to go see a shrink about his little person problems. Like, yeah, he probably needs to. I mean, I guess I shouldn't make judgments. He probably needs to talk to somebody, but that's an odd phone call to make. No, I'd like to see a psychotherapist. Okay, could you describe what your problem is? My brother's a little person, and it seems to me that I am a little person bigot. I need to talk about little people.
Well, maybe he has like a weird thing where he doesn't, so he's growing up in this community of little people and little people pride and going to these conventions and stuff, right? So maybe in a weird way, he has some animosity towards the community because he was different. He wasn't, because he was raised in this community where he is the different one because he is tall and normal.
Would have been a great thing for the film to do something with, and at no point does something with Jackie.
So it doesn't do that. And what I think it might have tried to do is that he has so much pain welled up inside him from seeing his brother grow up that he doesn't want anyone else to have to go through that pain because it touches upon that. But again, the movie doesn't do that. And so, like, that's the only thing I can guess by the end of it is like, I can't do this again. I already did this the one time with my brother. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't ever do that. He just is a douche.
He's just a total fucking douche. And I'll get to that later. I have a philosophy on this. Believe it or not. So Carol's like, hey, we're going to have a party and we're going to get the folks together. Cool. Off screen, I'm assuming. So they go to Carol's folks' house. And they meet them. They're tall people. And then they go to Steven's parents' house, and they're little people, for a barbecue.
Yes.
And it's like set up like, oh God, Carol's mom's gonna be, her name is Karen, and she's gonna get all shitty. But then they all are cool, and everything's good. Everything's good, Steven.
And there's a fart limerick that goes on for about a minute and a half. It turns into not a limerick because he keeps adding lines, and he's like, to fart, to sleep no more, to only smell the bad air, the bad smeller. Why have you forsaken me, the beans?
Yorick, you were the smelliest farter. I knew you well. I knew your butt smelled well.
Toil, bubble and boil my butt with the farting.
Farts for tarts. I said tarts. Tarts.
Well, that's
fart tarts.
And that makes it funny.
Yeah.
It's fruity.
And Sam and I were on a roll with twisting Shakespeare quotes. I was going to follow up with something's rotten in Denmark, but you just said fart tarts. And
yep.
Bam!
Hey guys, what if Pop Tarts were made of farts instead? That would rhyme and it would be funny, and if you ate it, it'd be gross.
Shakespeare!
I don't know any Shakespeare, so I can make up Jackie Spear. I'm sorry. I ruined it.
What green cloud breaks through yonder window?
Wild berry.
Wild berry.
Pina colada. Okay, calm down. Fart tarts.
You'd market it to the kids while you're on the go. Wild berry fart tarts. And on your skateboard. Yeah. You still jam out and have a little snack.
You guys are silly people. All right. Dang it. All right. So they get married in the park while Maurice and Lucy are there. They're getting shit-faced. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
You kind of glossed over like they were leading up during the dinner after the fart stuff.
No. It's
about the mom.
Yeah,
but they really wanted them to have a Jewish wedding.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It has nothing to do with the dwarfism. That's what I'm saying. They were like setting it up, like, oh boy, mom's a bitch. But no, everything's fine. Everything's fine, Steven. Get over it. You're being a dick. So they get married, and Maurice and Lucy get drunk there out in the park in front of those kids again. And she runs out of the car, Carol. She's like, hold on. I got to go say bye to your brother. And so she runs over to Rolf, and she's like, Rolf, thanks for everything. And he's like, sure. What did I do? What did he do?
I think he's been a support network for her. I mean, like, he introduced her into the community. He helped her find answers for medical questions that she might have had.
But that doesn't, I mean, that was like 2 years ago. Not 2 years
no,
ago.
She's
okay.
like
9 months ago.
2 years
yeah,
to have a baby, dude.
I don't know what gestation means. I mean, she's about to pop. Like, hey, thanks for doing that 8 months ago, bud. It's a weird scene.
That's
and then she kisses
something.
him right on the lips.
Because there's probably a bunch of shit left on the cutting room floor that we did not see.
Yeah. It's okay. And now it's baby time. And sure enough, the baby's a little person. Not just in baby terms, but in...
Well, and I can't help but wonder, like, at some point, and I'm sure this is also on the cutting room floor, that they do find out that it is going to be a little person baby because they are in a little person hospital.
Yeah, that's true.
That specializes in little babies.
Yeah.
And then he's like surprised by it, and he punches the door, which probably sets him back $78,000.
Yeah, man. It's a hospital door. Made of paper and still expensive. Yeah, he's being a total asshole. Like, he just sucks. And so they go home, And the little guy has a night of crying. She's like, he won't go to sleep. And Steven's like, I can't go on. I can't do this. I think you should leave and take the baby with you.
Well, his first suggestion was, hey, let's drug the kid up.
Right, yeah.
He needs morphine because he's having these growing pains. And she's like, dude, he is like 2 weeks old, fuck fairies.
Right. I already asked the doctor. They're like, no, you can't give that kid morphine. That's a baby, sir.
And he's like, how about just a little bit?
How about just like wet his gums up with morphine? Coke? Can we give him Coke?
What about whiskey?
Opium? H? What about a little Molly? Can we stuff some Molly in this baby? Is that cool, Doc? Yeah, do whatever you want, Steven. You're a dick. Okay, so they separate. And she, I guess, has no place to go. So she goes to Ralph's
I think
cabin
she has plenty of places to go because it's her apartment and she could just kick him out.
Get the fuck out.
There's a bunch of stuff that we haven't seen, but what we see instead is she's like, Rolf, I'm coming to you.
To your cabin in the woods that seems pretty nice, that has not been mentioned at all. Wait, you had no places to go after Sally and the porking motel people. This whole time you've had this sweet ass cabin?
Well, he doesn't have any place to stay in the city.
With the hot tub? Then get the fuck out of the city.
The cabin does get mentioned when she's like, what will you do now, before she kisses him on the lips at the wedding. And he says, I'm going to go up to the family cabin.
Oh, it's the family
and
cabin.
do some writing. Yeah, so it's a family cabin and nobody's using it. So him and Maurice go up there.
And Lucy.
With Lucy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So she stays there too with the baby. And Maurice and Lucy, they're not good roommates. They're drunk. They're yelling. They're fighting all the time. And they, I guess, break up. And that's the end of their shtick. And Ralph comes in and grabs the baby while she's getting some Z's. And baby's like, I'm a little baby. I'm cute. And I love them. I'm happy. And blah, blah, blah. Goo, goo, gaga. And he's like, hush, little baby, blah, blah, blah. And she comes downstairs and she sees him and she's like, oh my God, I love this man. He's like got baby sense. And so Steven pulls up one day and he's like, well, it turns out I'm still a dick and be cool to my son, bro. Bye-bye. And leaves.
This whole conversation was really cloudy to me because he's acting like he's been in therapy and he's trying, and she's not accepting that he now needs to have the opportunity to try to be the dad that she wants.
Correct.
And he feels like he's ready. And she's like, no, haters gonna hate. Get the fuck out.
Yep. He's like, all right, I will.
Did we mention that Maurice and Lucy just both fuck off?
Yeah, they just both fuck off.
They're like, I'm leaving you. And he's like, you can't, I'm leaving you first. And they both just leave.
Yeah, I covered that. Paying attention to me as well as you paid attention to the movie, clearly. So then Ralph, he's like, oh.
Wow, rude, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Totally rude. Ralph makes her get out of bed. He's like, sorry, your husband's a dick because you're still married, but why don't you come outside into the freezing night air in your nightgown?
High beams.
She is wearing nothing but a nightgown.
She made that choice herself.
I understand.
She could have put something else on.
But, like, it's cold outside. He is breathing air. Frost is emitting from it. And she's just sitting there like, yeah.
Okay. Before we go any further, because we're almost done here, I have to ask you guys if you noticed and if I was just crazy. Did McConaughey drive in a blue Suburban and leave in a red Dakota?
No, the red Dakota, I noted this because I also own a Dodge Dakota. I was like, hey, cool, Dak. That's Ralph's Dak. McConaughey drove in.
No, that's hers.
Oh, that's her Dak.
So he drives the Suburban?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was weird because she shows up in the Suburban, but then the Suburban
The
shows up
Suburban
with
is
him.
pulling up. That's what I'm saying. It's not. They just had some footage of the Suburban pulling up, and they put it in there like we weren't going to notice. And he leaves in the Dakota.
Yep.
Oh. God damn it. He stole that truck. She stole his baby.
That's why he really came there. He didn't come there to see his son. He was like,
back.
car swap.
You leave 60 minutes of movie on the cutting room floor, and you didn't have coverage there.
Right.
Fantastic.
So anyways, Ralph and Carol are sitting outside in the cold night air, and she's like, wow, it's pretty up here. Look at the stars. And she looks over at him and says, you know, you can kiss me if you want to. So he does. And then the movie's over.
And this
what
is
the fuck?
What the fuck?
What
and
the
it gets
fuck?
better. It gets better than that because the movie's over and there's like some piano playing like, oh, the plight of this awful situation that's going to probably work out for the best that it can. And then like 10 seconds later, they're like, by the way, Stevie Ray Vaughan, but shitty Roadhouse.
Oh,
like,
God damn it.
what the actual fuck?
What the fuck? I just joked at the end of this. I was like, the end. Because it had faded to black so many times that I kept saying, the end throughout the entire thing. It fades to black here. And I was like, totally kidding. And then it was the end. And I'm like, no fucking way. That's how this thing ends? You can kiss me if you want to. And he does. And it faded to black and then credits. No, there's whole soul, like, a shit ton more story now. You created more story instead of ending story.
Well, I don't think it's going to be really that awkward because the kid, if they're identical twins, right?
Uh-huh.
Steven and Rolf. And
They're
then
not.
the kid
They're fraternal
says,
twins.
They're definitely not identical.
okay. Oh, that's true.
One of them is Gary
Okay.
Oldman. I know he's a disguise master, but
Yeah. He's still Gary Oldman. On his knees.
So if the kid's ever like, are you my real dad? And he says, yes. And then they all get DNA ancestry.now or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And is it going to come back and be like, he is not the father?
Well, look. 23andMe is not quite the science that Jerry Springer rolled out, Jackie. It's not quite the bulletproof evidence that you can lump in with the old Springer. I just wanted to bring up Jerry Springer. I don't know. Yeah, Maury. Would I think it's not great DNA testing, Jackie. It's like pretty vague from my understanding. So it probably would just show like, yeah, there's enough markers. There's enough markers here to imply that this man is your father. Genetically, markers. Similar.
well, he's
DNA.
probably still going to visit. They still have to go. It's just like, yeah, I left your dad for your uncle.
But it's gonna
when he's
come
18.
out.
That's not what happens.
It's gonna come out, Jackie. Either way, mom and dad. Hey, how's Carol's folks? Oh, I wouldn't know. I don't talk to Carol anymore. Wait, what? Said mom and dad. Where's she at? I think she's staying with Rolf. Ringy ding ding. Rolf. What's going on with her grandson? I'm banging his mom. I mean,
I think that's one of those dirty family secrets that you just don't talk about.
the cabin folk, the cabin family. We don't talk to them
Cabin
anymore.
family. That is your dad, little baby,
Uh-huh.
and your mom. And then Steven gets to be Dickbag McGee because right after this, he has a vasectomy, so he cannot have any more kids. And he's
Thank
just
God.
out banging forest ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes up, he shows up for special holidays like Christmas. And that's the only time the kid ever sees him. And the kid doesn't ever know. And nobody says anything.
And then Maurice.
But then
Okay, go ahead.
after his mom dies, there is a trunk that's always been at the foot of her bed. And finally, he decides to go through it. And he finds out that the banging forest guy is dun 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 his real dad.
No.
But then he's dying in a fire at the same time that he's learning about these documents because he can't shovel fast anymore. So the fire's gonna get him. And the kid is like, Dad!
If only you'd
And
been here to yell at
McConaughey's
me.
like, gonorrhea! And that's it.
I was going to say, I like that, but I was also going to say that you were onto it until the kid grows up, because the kid doesn't get to grow up before he finds out, because Maurice and Lucy are coming back to that cabin. They've got a shitload of fucking heroin. They shoot it up in the hot tub. Then they shoot up the whole house. Rolf gets hit like 6 times, and it ends up on Dateline. And that's how the kid finds out who his real father is.
Stone Phillips.
Stone fucking Phillips.
And then after the story, they're like, by the way, Stevie Ray Vaughan, but not really.
That's what happens to little Vincent. He's fucked. Little Vincent is fucked. His dad fucking sucks, and his mom is an idiot. And what's Rolf's deal? Like, he's just like, okay, I'll kiss you pretty late. At no point is there any like establishment with Rolf being romantically interested in Carol at all.
No.
They are just, he's just helping her. And then one day, on her wedding, she kisses him on the lips.
He does tell his brother, there is a scene that they did not cut where he tells his brother, you are one lucky guy, and I hope you realize what you have.
That doesn't mean I'm in love with her.
So?
Everybody says that to everybody. Hey, look, you got a great lady, dude. Don't be a fuck up. But if you are a fuck up, I'm totally gonna bang your wife.
Yeah. No,
That
you're
does
just
not
you
happen.
did a good job nailing it out of the park, bro. And then later they're like, really? Like, no, not really. I hate her.
Right. I mean, like, I don't know if another hour would have helped Sam. There is so much character context that
here's how
is omitted. It's got negative character context. You have to have like 10 hours to make up for the negative character context that you put in the 90 minutes.
I think that what could happen is you end up with a group of people that are so shell-shocked from everything that happened to them that this cabin in the woods with the two of them, at least they have some level of happiness. Like, basically, McConaughey's character in that hour that's not in the movie kind of has to be a bit of a monster.
Yeah, right?
And that's the only way that it works.
Right, but still, like, it ends on, so you want to fuck? Are you bored? You like pizza? Want to screw too? I mean,
do you have an identical penis to your brother? Because I'm down.
No, mine's weird. It's like Justin's. It's disturbing.
Do you have any water?
Yeah, give me water. I mean, no. This movie sucks. No matter what, it is a turd with or without that extra hour. It's just a bad screenplay, period. There's no way that another hour could have redeemed it. I just don't see it, Peter Dinklage. It's bad. It's bad writing. But that's just me. Anybody else have any questions? We've solved Vincent's future. We have not explained the emotional development of anybody in this film because we can't, because they are not real people or the semblance of real people.
What happens to Sally?
Ride, Sally, ride.
He never speaks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he never speaks to her again. He's got what he wants. The wife.
Town record. Okay, we don't care. Talking about Sally. What's Sally doing? She doesn't need him to have a good life. Whoop, 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 whoop.
I would hope that she gets married to David Allen Greer's character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
that
cool.
They actually found true love
too.
porking on that table.
And
in front of everybody.
They're both bowl of keyers. Down in Florida, putting those keys in those bowls, having a good time.
Hedonism 2, terror, ripping and a tearing.
All right. That's solved. I think we're ready for final recommendations. I'm going to go first. Do it.
What?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, Sam. Do it. This thing is so bad. I mean, I'm not being hyperbolic. There's The Room. There's Birdemic. those are films made by amateurs with amateur talent. I think, honestly, this is the worst Hollywood movie we've ever done on this podcast. It is incredibly bad and in no way it bears any resemblance to actual films. Like, it is a clinic. They should have a class just on this film in film school with big red circles with the line going through it. No. The whole movie is don't touch me in my no square. This is not how you make film. The ending is so out of fucking left field and wait, what? That it is 100% an absolute. And now, sadly, if you listen to this podcast, you now know the ending, and it's not going to hit you near as hard. When it hit me, I was like, spit take all over the fucking place. I had a good time with this movie through and through because it is. I mean, it's real bad. This is I might have to break the rule and on a good movie quality scale, give this 1 star, even though it doesn't break my ultimate rule that all films deserve merit. This thing sucks.
And I feel like if you were going to give 1 star, it has that sort of merit badge that should earn it, is that it was edited into oblivion. Even if it was bad to begin with, it's incomprehensible.
It's incomprehensible. So, I mean, yeah, I think that there's so much here to discuss as far as like an afternoon with your buddies or your significant other. I can't not recommend this. I think everybody should see it 100%. Sam?
I'm going to change to a do under the caveat that I just said. If you'd like to see a movie edited to oblivion, even if it was bad before, and I'll reiterate that it just could have been bad before, but there's a level of cutting it to 90 minutes on the nose where you don't have a movie left, and that is what they have done here. And I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen caution to the wind thrown as far as just keep cutting. I don't care about the story. Mm-hmm. I've never seen that until just now.
I've never seen a movie like this. 100%. I've never seen anything close to this outside of amateur film circles. Jackie?
I'm giving it a do. If you like to pause movies with your friends and say, okay, it's a fade to black moment. Go. What happened in between now and then?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then whoever has the worst idea has to drink, or whoever's closest doesn't have to drink. You know, choose your own adventure in the drinking game with this one. But, I mean, you could definitely have a really good conversation and a really fun time, like trying to figure out what happened in between these fades to black. So I really liked it. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I learned a few things, like some real things that I did not know about. And it was amazing, like, watching Gary Oldman get shoved into a couch.
I mean, it's got Gary Oldman stuffed into a couch. Come on. That says
but
do
his,
right
like,
there.
Weird legs. And, like, where his body and the weird legs meet, there's just a definite triangle there. It's like there's no waist or anything. Like, he just gets cut off, and then there's the rest of him. And I mean, I really enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm gonna give it a do.
I mean, let's reiterate this, that the acting in this movie is competent, and at no point does anybody do anything bad. But imagine if there was bad acting all over this thing. This would be a Stinker Madness Hall of Fame movie. It would be so unbelievably bad. Neil Breen could never compete with it. It's only missing that, and that's still not enough to take away. Like, yes, it would have been a 9-star film if it had bad acting, but without bad acting, it's a don't. No, this is still a fucking do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that bad acting at a universal level could have put it with Monster A Go-Go and Secret Agent Super Dragon. In terms of now you're just kind of blankly staring and not understanding what you're saying.
Okay, I don't mean bad acting. I mean scene chewing. Like if
Okay.
McConaughey, really McConaughey, like Reign of Fire McConaughey, and instead of Gary Oldman, because he's just always going to do a great job. Oh shit, I'm Gary Oldman. Nick Caging like DTV Nick Cage, and Kate Beckinsale just being like, well, the rest of everybody sucks. I might as well suck too.
And getting to wear her hat for the whole movie.
Yep. I will say, though, that the idea is not a bad
No.
one. But I think that if they redid it, it might, and then gave it the time that it needs to develop the character stories.
Yes.
I think it would be a good film.
They did do this movie. Sadly, it wasn't about little people. It was about another underrepresented community. It was called Coda, Jackie, and it won the fucking Oscar. And that's how you make a movie about underrepresented people and educate people about a community that, I don't want to say disabled, because I don't think little people are disabled. They're just different. That's how you do that film, to make people understand about what life is like with this different thing than you, 6 foot tall, cis white male. I don't want the fucking Oscar. This did not. This won Razzies. So,
I don't even think it won the Razzie.
I don't even think the fucking Razzies even fucking knew about it, because nobody does. Okay, that's your movie. Next week on the show, I am also going to take a chance, and we are going to do a film from, I believe it is also on Prime. No, it's on Plex, which is the shitty Tubi version. From 2005, called Riding the Bus with My Sister, starring Rosie O'Donnell and Annie McDowell. So check that out on Plex, and possibly hate us next week. And during this week, love us. And email us, Talk to Stinker Madness. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Stinker Madness. Watch us on YouTube and comment there, YouTube/Stinker Madness. And get to the chopper.